Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I like to do is to create videos that I would have found helpful when I first got out looking for treasure. Things like gold or silver. Today's video is going to be probably a fairly short one. We're just going to look at a few things that I got on a little trip that I took. Went a couple hours away to a swim meet for my daughter this weekend, and I stopped off at thrift shops and a pawn shop along the way, and we got a few things. Plus, I've been doing a lot of cleaning lately, and I found something else in my stuff that I don't think I'd shown on the channel before, so I figured I would. The very first thing I found was actually this, which was in a 50-cent bin, and you maybe got directed by the short to this video. I try to film shorts when I find these things, the moment I find these things. And this one, as you can see here, I believe would be Native American. I haven't identified what this mark means yet, but it looked for all the world like it was silver, and that this is some kind of Native American mark, this probably being like turquoise that's in there. Obviously, it is not in great shape. It needs a little bit of love. You know what? I wonder, I'm going to pause the video for a second and see if we can just round this out a touch. Yeah, so part of why I got this mandrel, which gives you the sizes, is because I wanted one that was actually, you know, quality and steel. Because when you have a ring that's not round, now obviously there's a risk when you do something like this, when you have like the turquoise inlaid in there, but we're already missing it, so I'm not too worried about that. But you can just take one of these, and if you have like a soft mallet, you can actually use it to round out your rings. In this case, we're obviously going to take it down a lot further than we should, but I'm just trying to get it round. So if I had a soft mallet down here, I could use this to just do a little tappy-tappy. Let me see, I might be able to grab one. Just a moment. All right, I went to the garage and did a little bit of work on it, just for a moment there. And I have this little screwdriver. Now, is a screwdriver the right tool for this? Not really, but it's soft. And as you can see, it's doing the job. Just that and a little bit of pressure. Now, is this ring fixed? Not really. Does that look a lot better than it did just a couple minutes ago? I think it does. So, someone would be able to probably, at this point, bend it to their needs. Now, sadly, it's missing. It's missing all of that, and as you can see here, it's missing more because of what I just did. So, there's two things I wanted to talk about with this one. One was that sometimes sterling isn't actually marked, and then these pieces that have this kind of inlay, see, it goes right in there. And I think maybe there's another bit around here somewhere that's missing. You want to be gentle with these, because that inlay will just come right out, which isn't too unexpected. So I'm not sure how to actually fully repair this one. Thing is, I only paid 50 cents for it. So the question is, how much silver is in this? Because I don't know that this is ever going to be jewelry again. It's certainly a useful thing for illustrating sort of how to set one of these rings to right and what happens when you do. But we're at, 3.5 grams. So our 50 cents, got us $4-5 worth of silver, if nothing else, which I think nothing else is actually what's going on here. Unless you were to spend quite a bit of effort and then just completely do new, you could get this out pretty easily, and then you could do new inlay if you wanted. I'm not sure how you would do it with the turquoise, little turquoise stuff, but maybe with some sort of enamel. In any case, 50 cents. That was the first thing I found. And then I found this. in the same place. Now, I actually paid a little bit more for this than I usually would pay for something at a thrift shop. I paid $10 whole for it. And part of that was that when I ask somebody to take something out of a case and they were busy, I tend to feel guilty and then obligated to buy the thing, if that makes any kind of sense. But it had a look of potentially being gold. Now, it's not marked, and it's kind of got it's a little dirty there, but like the edges look pretty good for gold. The little nose looks pretty good for gold. The wear looks pretty good for gold. I'm not too keen on the quality of the enamel work. And also, like, if you look at this, that looks really good for gold. I think you can see the difference a little bit. This one's a little bit more of a yellow gold. But I'm not sure. Now, what we will do by the end of this video is we'll go ahead and test this. We'll find out if I overpaid for this pin, which is possible. But if I didn't, if it is 10 karat gold, which is generally what something like this is going to be if it's gold, how much would that have been? What would the payout on my gamble be? 2.5 grams. So if we're getting gold when we test this, and keep in mind that's 2.5 grams of 10 karat gold, which is quite a lot of gold. So it can be worth even slightly more. This is something I purchased quite a long time ago. I think I paid $5 for it, and they're just adorable. Let's see there. Oh, there we go. Oh, nope. I had it right the first time. Sterling. Itsy bitsy little sterling. And then this glass insert goes in. See all that verdigris? Is one of these sterling and one of these not? The answer is no, they're both sterling. Now, why do we have this little bit of glass here? Well, that's because of this. All of that green you see there is on sterling silver, but that is the result of salt. Salt will do that, and that's why old salt shakers get really thrashed. Even if something is sterling, salt will still wreck it. So if you have sterling silver salt shakers, make sure that you don't store them with salt in them. You want to take all the salt out and clean them after use, which makes them a little bit, pardon me, I apologize, I have a bit of a cold. Makes them a bit more difficult to use, frankly. But our $5 got us almost 10 grams of sterling, which, you know, at the time was, I think that was about spot at the time. Maybe a little less than spot than when I bought this. But I just think they're adorable. And I had some money in my pocket and I walked away with it. All right. Oh, you know what? Forgetting that, aren't I? Let's have a quick weight on this. So this is a ring that I rescued from a pawn shop, and it weighs in at 2.62 grams. Let's make sure we're good. That makes sense. 2.62 grams. All right, we'll say 2.6. Now, the reason I grabbed this, and you'll see in the short, which should be associated to this video, I'll try to release them at the same time. The reason I grabbed this was that they had a lot of gold rings that were priced appropriately for older pricing. Gold has risen so precipitously lately that this was, I think, going to be under spot. Now, it was labeled as 10 karat, which I think may be correct. But I can only find a little bit of a marking on it on the inside here. Let's see if we can see it for our video here. And that little bit of a marking is right there. It's something like E-T-O-E-T. R. Almost looks like sterling, huh? Well, maybe I got ripped off. In any case, I did pay $99 for this, and it was marked as 10 karat. We're going to go ahead and test it. The big thing about it, though, was that I was pretty certain it was gold, and I just loved it. I like how we have different sized diamonds. I think all of the diamonds are different sizes. These two might be the same. And we have, I think, rubies. Shall we just check real quick? There's a nice little test we can do for rubies. They should. I'm going to turn off the lights here. Boom. All right. And then we have, oh, is that a black light? No, that's a black light, and there we go. Do they glow? Yep. Oh, look, okay, this is great. So you see how the rubies glow, although one of them not as much. However, look at that diamond down in the bottom there. Look what that thing does. Holy smokes, look at that. Yeah. So we have definitely three natural rubies, and this tells us that the diamonds are natural too, or at least that one on the bottom's natural because it's fluorescing. So that's handy. We don't even have to gem test this puppy. Although, is it interesting? I haven't seen a ruby not fluoresce like that. I wonder if that one is glass. Let's have a look back with the light, shall we? Okay, I got the light back on. So, I'll grab my pointer here. This is the stone that fluoresced, which tells us that's a natural diamond, which I assume since these ones are smaller, they're probably two. These three stones fluoresced. This little guy, which is darker, did not fluoresce. That is interesting. You can see it definitely is different. Let's break out the gem tester before we go test this for gold content, shall we? Okay, so I think that's warmed up. And it looks like it's calibrated right. So why don't we start with our natural diamond right here. Interesting. Just goes up to the sapphire range. I might have to break out another stone and see if I am calibrated right here. Let's try another one of these stones. Oh, that was me hitting the metal. These little stones are very hard. You know, if you're thinking about getting a gem tester, you gotta know they're a little finicky. Oh, come on. Okay, so that one's clearly a diamond. I wonder if this one that was glowing so bright's a sapphire. Weird. I'm gonna try it one more time. Maybe that it's dirty. It goes pretty far up, but it doesn't hit that diamond. Well, interesting. Okay, so let's have a look. I think one of this one right here is probably going to turn out to be, should go up to ruby. Oh. Okay. Yep, we get up in the ruby there. Okay, so that's one of them. Let's try the next one. I think it's probably, I need to wash this ring wash these stones. So those are the other two, and then we've got this one, which didn't glow. What does that one do? It goes up even higher. Interesting. Well, why don't I go give this a scrub? I'm just gonna do a little wash real quick, just with some gentle soap, and then we'll come back and we'll test some more. And we're back. There's a little Dawn and an old toothbrush. Real gentle, making sure there's no stones that are gonna go missing. Okay, let's try our big glowy stone again, now that it's clean. Yeah, look at that. Interesting. So, I guess that's a hot tip for anyone who's using one of these gem testers. If you don't, yep, diamond for that little one right there. If you don't wash it first, you may not get good results. All right, let's see. Oh, let's see here. Oh, come on. We can do it. Now, I may have overheated that stone or something. Run too much current through it. Let's see. Let's try this next one. Yeah, that goes up to the ruby. There we go. That makes sense. We would expect that one to do that. And then this one, I think, will do the same thing. Yep, there we go. Then I think this next one, I don't remember if this one was the one that didn't glow. We'll see what that one does. Oh, same thing. Okay, so then the last one is this one, which I failed on a bunch of times. Let's try not to fail this time. Yeah, okay. So they all test out as rubies and all tests out as diamonds, which makes sense. Now, shall we go see what kind of gold it's made out of? And that will tell us how well we did buying it, because it doesn't have a carat marking on it. But I should also note, one of the reasons I picked this one out, and I was going to pick a different one out. I had that $100 bill in my pocket from cashing out some other gold the other day. And I was initially going to pick out just a little wedding band, because it looked like it was, wedding bands are usually pretty heavy. And I think it was hollow. If you watch the short, I'm really eyeballing that wedding band, and when I pulled it out and held it, I'm like, this is not as heavy as gold should be. And I didn't know that they made wedding bands hollow, but that thing had to be hollow because it was very light, way too light for a gold band of that size. So I ended up looking around, because I had that $100 bill burning a hole in my pocket, and I just kind of thought this was really pretty, and I really like the sort of naturalistic look. I thought that the rubies were very striking, and then I presumed, due to all the work that went into it, that they would end up being diamonds, especially because it was old, and it has an inscription on it that's worn off, so somebody wore that a lot. All right, let's go test it. All right, here we are at the new testing station. So let's go ahead and start with the ring. We'll give that an old, I can't really do this left-handed. I'll just do a little scratchery down here. And we want it long so that we can say both 10 karat and 14 karat. I suppose maybe we'll do 3. We'll do a dot at 10, 14, and 18. I don't think it's gonna be 18, but you know what? We'll find out. Now this one, I'm going to do a little scratcher in the back here, and then maybe on the nose. Let's see if I can do that on camera. So I apologize for how this camera is set up. I've had a lot of requests to make sure that I do the testing on camera. But I kind of can't do testing in my regular bench. Partially because of my kids and kind of feeling like they're going to be able to access it. And then for another reason regarding acid. So I'm going to also test this thing, retest this thing. This thing came up as, I think, 14 karat on the XRF machine, but I don't know that I trust it because it's not marked, and I think it's a PTA pin. Is it? Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and retest this one with acid. I don't think I've ever tested this one with acid myself because I acquired it long before I was doing acid testing. And as I was doing a lot of like sorting, I became suspicious because the XRF machine is not necessarily foolproof. And that's something I have come to learn. That one goes there. All right, so we're gonna start with 10 karat test acid. I'm just gonna do like a little dot. I need to, after this video, I need to go order some more. Okay. We got 10 karat cooking there. Let's check. I'm gonna pull out 18 and 14 also. Yeah, see our PTA pin? This is not gold. But you know what? Let me do one quick thing here. Let's just do the front. Just like a little dab on the front here. And watch this. All right, there you go. Let's just see how that cooks, shall we? But we're good for 10, good for 10, good for 10. So we did very well on this one, I think. All right, let's check it on 14, shall we? It's important to try not to mix the test acid. There we go. That's pretty interesting. You see it kind of does something a little bit different. Oh, maybe we're losing some here. So here's you can see, here's a pointer. You can see here we've got real strong 10. The 14 is eating it more, to be certain. Here we still have some. And here we definitely, this is even stronger than this. So I think the little nose here of the elk is definitely 10 karat. The rest of this piece we're going to want to retest. It's holding through both of those, but I'm going to want to hit it a little harder in one particular spot to see if what we're seeing here is what's on the surface. Now, our 10 karat acid is strong. Our 14 karat acid is not disappearing. And according to the diagnostics, that would indicate that that is probably 14 karat. Now they're merging. Let's do the 18 karat right up here though. And you'll see how it goes. Boom, it's gone. So I think this ring is actually 14 karat. Now we can call it 10 karat, we can call it 14 karat, but the 14 karat acid is not eating it. You can see, even though those things have merged at this point, it's not eating it. Now this one, it's also not eating it, but I'm gonna clean this up and I'm going to do a little bit of retesting. I feel very confident that our nose is 10 karat. Heck, it might even be 14 karat by the looks of that. But I'm gonna recheck the back here. And also, you notice how this thing is not quite disappearing? That's because this piece is gold fill. And when it was tested on the XRF machine, it was probably tested face down. And the face of this is actually 10 karat. The back is not, indicating that that's a gold fill piece. All right, let me clean this up, and then we will do just a touch more retesting. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some particular spot on the back, maybe down here. I like that spot right there. And I'm going to give it a real good scratcheroo. So I'm just going to write right down here on the back so I'm not destroying the pin. I'm going to try to get through if it's plated or if it's gold fill. What I want to do is I want to take that off. I want to see if there's another metal there. Can't quite tell. So that one will probably test good, but I'm going to do one more in the exact same spot next to it, which theoretically should be down to where we're into whatever metal is underneath. Because that's what we're looking for with this. We're looking for whatever metal is underneath. Because if it is karat gold, then the whole thing will be made out of the same material all the way through. And in this case, it looks good. See how it looks like it's all the same material? It just got shiny there. I think we're going to find that this one is probably 10 karat. And I'm going to do the same for this one, just in case that little mark there. I think that mark is somebody's name potentially, but I do wonder if that's STE. I don't think so. I think it's gold, and I think it's probably 10 karat gold or something a little higher than 10 karat gold, but I don't know that it's 14. What we're going to do is we're just going to give it a real good scratch here, and we're going to put 14 test acid on it. We know it's not 18 for sure. I'm going to put a little 14 test acid on that. Okay. There we go. There we go. And then I'm going to do 10 karat on both of these just to see if there's any difference. And then we're going to do 14 on the other one. Okay. Yeah, so I would go ahead and say at this point that, and you can see the difference here, real stark. And we got down past whatever would be on the surface. So this one is very definitely 10 karat gold. You see how this is going away? This is going to be 10 karat gold too. We would call it 10 karat gold. But I bet you if I had access to an XRF machine, we would find that it's a little high for 10 karat gold. It may be closer to 11K or even closer to 12K because the 14 karat acid isn't completely eating it. Now, diagnostically with this acid, they say if it doesn't completely eat it, that it's potentially actually 14 karat. And you might call it that, but that's one of the things to remember about our gold is that they might stamp something 14 karat, but it's more like 13, maybe as low as 12. It really kind of depends on who is producing it and how honest they actually are. Those markings aren't necessarily always true, or in the case of this pin, there's no markings at all. And I just knew that it was going to be gold because of how it was constructed, how it looked, and the experience that I have of grabbing these unmarked ones that are gold. They just have, as you can see, they just look a certain way. And if you watch my videos a lot, you'll start to see that. A lot of what I can do by grabbing gold off of eBay is these overlooked pieces that could be gold fill, could be solid gold. People don't really know. And how would you know, really? Unless you're, OCD like me and you just have to know, you wouldn't. So, in any case, I feel confident in saying 10 karat from a weight standpoint, and 10 karat. So I think we're doing pretty good. Now, let's go back to the bench. I forgot one more thing. I believe there's a spoon we should talk about. Okay, We are back. We've identified that as 10 carat. We'll set that right there. A little bit more 10 carat. Now the spoon was $4, and it is Toll Sterling, patent 1933, Cascade pattern. You know, you've got one of the more modern, as in like, you know, obviously this one's post 1933, but the more modern ones, like this piece, which was probably made in the, you know, maybe 40s, 50s, 60s, they like to start to put the pattern so that it would be easier to just go ahead and order more of that pattern, which is one of the really fun things about sterling. In addition to it being valuable because it's 92.5% silver, fun to use because it's pretty, especially once you polish it up. But they would make these, the pattern, and you could have hollowware and flatware that went with the pattern. So as much as you liked, you could get all of the different pieces and just keep collecting it. It was like Beanie Babies for boomers. Except if people who bought Beanie Babies bought silver, they'd be in a much better position. Okay, this scale may do it for us. May not. Hey, it does. So 68.66 grams. For $4 at spot today, that's about $100 of silver for $4. And again, if you're watching this video, I've tried to, the last few days, I've tried to put out the shorts so you can see exactly where I found this. Now, I will also note, since this is a longer form video, that some of those videos that you see when I'm finding something isn't necessarily the very first time I found it. Oftentimes I'll rummage through the silver, and then if I spot it, identify it, I'll toss it back in the bin where it was, and then I'll take a video. There's just a lot. And if I uploaded every video of me rummaging around in a silver bin, no one would want to watch any of the shorts. I usually will only make a video if there actually is something interesting in that bin, like this. So is it set up? A little bit. And I want to make that clear to everybody. Is it something that I found at that moment or just a few moments before? Absolutely. I don't go out and slap a sticker on a piece of silver and throw it in a silver bin and then pull it out and pretend like I found it. I really do find this stuff. I can't imagine being able to afford to do that. Plus, I think at this point, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've seen literally every piece of sterling that I possess. I think I've gone through all of them at one point or another. And then every piece of silver that I got since the video where I talked about the collection has been something which I have shown you on camera. So people would certainly be able to catch me if I were taking my sterling and seeding it out there. Which, I don't know. It feels like it's cheating anyways. But I will say, part of why I'm doing this video right now with fewer pieces, focusing a little bit more on the testing, is because winter is about here for us, and the thrift shopping and garage selling has really taken a nosedive. So for the winter months, or probably more into spring because my videos are a little later, keep in mind that my channel will probably go through cycles. If you're used to all jewelry jars all the time, I can't guarantee it because I have to find jewelry jars. And right now I'm not finding any. It's been about 3 weeks since I found one. So I hope that this kind of video also entertains you. And most importantly, that you learn something. If you do, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, really helps me out. And most importantly, if you have learned something, I hope that you can use that information to go out and find yourself some treasure.
Like this, I've been Thomas.